And we are live. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to IT Career in Australia live stream. And tonight's topic is how Kanban system can boost your IT career. Thank you so much for finding some time this evening to join our live discussion. Please make sure to introduce yourselves in the comments as usual. Let us know what you do and join our conversations with your comments and questions. If you're new to my live show, I'm Jana Martins. I'm currently working in IT consultancy. So I'm passionate about learning more about present and future of tech industry and also share my new findings with you on this YouTube channel. So again, tonight we're going to talk about how Kanban system can boost your IT career. And Orod is going to share his experience and how Kanban boards help him not only in his professional life and career, but in personal life as well. So really interesting topic today. I'm sure you can learn some tips, not some life hacks, not just the career hacks in today's sessions. But yes, make sure to tag and share this video with your colleagues that need to hear this. So before I pass it on to Orod to introduce himself, just want to quickly remind you that, as usual, we're going live on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. So if you want to watch replays, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, IT Career in Australia. I'm going live there every Wednesday, 5:30 p.m. Melbourne time with the various experts from my network. And we're talking about all the things around job search, IT career, and specifics of IT industry in Australia. So you can also join my meetup group so you can get notifications about upcoming events, and hopefully we'll maybe have some face-to-face events in Melbourne as well. And please, as usual, make sure to use this live stream not just the way to learn new information, but opportunity to network with people in the industry as well. And please don't be shy, ask the questions, because the most active participants always get a nice surprise at the end of the stream as well. So that's enough of me. I'm passing it to Orod to introduce himself. Thank you.
Thanks, Yana, and hi, everyone. I'm Orod, and I'm an agile coach and accredited Kanban trainer from Kanban University. It's a pleasure, Yana, to be here again. I think it was last year that I came here and talk about how I become a Scrum Master and change my career as a developer. And now today we're going to talk about Kanban and how it can help people to improve their work and also their personal life. And I'm sure we're going to have lots of fun.
Yeah, definitely. I've been just trying to find our previous stream, but I think it's been so long ago. It's not even need to scroll for too long. But yes, definitely, guys. If you're on the channel, you can find and you're thinking about being a Scrum Master, definitely find our video with Orod. So we have a few people joining us. Precious saying hi. Hi, thanks a lot for your effort and informative videos. Thank you, Prash. Rebecca's here. Hi, Rebecca's here, trying to find my first front-end developer role after completing a bootcamp. Thank you, Rebecca. Murat is here. Thank you for the video, Murat. And Smail is here as well. Perfect. Thank you guys so much for saying hi. Really appreciate and you guys saying hi in the comments, because it always feels more welcome. Feels like someone here, someone's talking to us, so someone listening, someone cares. So, so always nice. Thank you. All right, just I guess straight into it. Now, before we talk about Kanban itself, maybe just tell me why you actually passionate about this topic. Why you want to talk about Kanban system today.
That's actually a very, very good question. Because, as you know, I started as a developer and then changed my career, started as working as a Scrum Master, an agile practitioner for a few years. And about 5 years ago, I actually exposed properly to Kanban for the first time. And I've heard a few things from one of my manager who is very, experienced Kanban practitioner. And it helped me, those, his advices helped me to become a better Scrum Master at the beginning. And then I got a little bit more interested about Kanban and start reading and kind of self-study about Kanban and started practicing a little bit with different teams. Uh, and I've noticed that there are a lot into Kanban, and I've noticed that there are lots of confusion about Kanban. And unfortunately, a lot of people, including myself, they think that they know Kanban. And when you think that you know something, you're not going to learn, right? Because you think I know everything about it, so why should I learn, right? But to be honest, when I started learning Kanban, I've noticed that I didn't know anything about Kanban. And in fact, what I thought I knew wasn't Kanban. And since last year, I started training Kanban, certified Kanban courses and introduced Kanban to multiple teams and some large organization as well. And we got some benefit. So there are a lot into Kanban, and I'm sure today we can discuss about some of them.
Yeah, and I like how you mentioned, that you think you know Kanban. Like, what to know about Kanban? It's just the four columns. Like,
That's right. That's right.
doing, and process done.
Yeah,
What else do you need to know?
that's right. So that's one thing. So it's just some column. And also some people, when we talk about Kanban, they think it's back to 1970s, lean manufacturing and Toyota, and they think it's a very old approach, which actually that's another thing. So the Kanban I'm talking today and represent in Kanban University, it's influenced by lean manufacturing, and Kanban started in Toyota in 70s, stuff like that, but adapted for knowledge work, including software products, software development, IT, and pretty much anything that needs knowledge and knowledge worker. So it's not exactly the same thing. So people think, oh, it's an old approach, but it's actually quite new. It's started from almost 2010.
Yeah. So just say hi to a few people. A few more people say hi. Niraka saying, good to see you, Yana. Thank you. Anderson's here. I'm learning a lot watching your lives. Thanks, Yana. Thank you guys for your great comments. You see, it's getting warmer here. Perfect.
Feels good.
Okay.
Feels good.
Feels good. Okay, so what is Kanban? Yeah. So if it's not just, four columns to produce the car, what is Kanban?
So Kanban is actually a method to help managing the knowledge work, as I said. And just to make sure everyone on the same page, knowledge work is basically anything that needs cognitive skills, right? So someone needs to sit and think and solve the problem and learn basically as we go. And also it has some practices and principles that help us to manage the work and knowledge work more effectively and more efficiently. Kanban has a tools, which is pretty much a lot of people heard about it, Kanban board. But we use Kanban board to visualize the work and how this work flow through the system from when it's raised by the customer until it's actually fulfilled and customer says, yeah, I'm happy, good, right? So we use this Kanban board to visualize the work and workflow. And the goal is to design a Kanban system that eventually help us to balance between demand, which come to the system, or imagine we have a team, they're doing something. So customer raised the demand. So we want to balance between demand, which come to the system, and capability of the system. So whatever it leave the system. So we want to balance it up. And when we balance between demand and capability, then we basically achieve agility. And again, that's another thing. I think it's good to define it now to make sure everyone on the same page, because we keep talking about agility. So agility basically means that, when we deliver the right work to the right customer, when customer expected, right? Then this is agility. And if we can reduce this time, then we can improve agility. And that's the goal of Kanban.
And I guess, we talk about a lot of agility, and usually
Mm,
when we think about agility, we think about Scrum and, Scrum teams.
mm,
Yeah. So,
yeah.
and I think that's a really common question about what is the difference. Like, is a Kanban can be used by Scrum teams, or is it a different methodology whatsoever? Or is it, some people what call like Scrum bun, or
Mm-hmm,
when
mm-hmm.
they're mixing two, like
Yeah,
what's what do you think, where is this difference
yeah.
between those two, and can it be combined?
Mm. Very good question, Yana. So Scrum, as probably everyone know, it's probably the most popular agile framework, and we can compare Scrum and Kanban from different angles. First of all, it's their change management. So Scrum um, has a revolutionary change management, which means because it's a framework, so Scrum basically works in a context, right? So there are some condition needs to be available, then Scrum works. And our job as a Scrum Master, for example, is to build that context so Scrum can work. For example, we are going to start, before even start Scrum, you need to break all the silos in the companies, right? So we need to create a cross-functional team. Unlike Scrum, which has a revolutionary approach, so it basically break everything, rebuild it from scratch, Kanban has an evolutionary approach. So Kanban always start from what you do, okay? And then we focus on what is the problem you have at the moment, and then we try to solve a problem and find a solution that fit for that problem that we have today. And then we evolve as we go gradually over time. So that's one difference between Scrum and Kanban. So they have different change management approach. Another difference is Scrum is a framework and it's an agile framework, which means Scrum um, has a Scrum guide, right, which guide you and it kind of prescribe you how you work. So you need to have a Scrum Master, you need to have a product owner, you need to have a cross-functional team, and you need to follow those approaches. And there are some ceremonies that you need to follow. And also everything that Scrum does, it's respect to Agile Manifesto. So all the, it embrace all the Agile values and Agile principles. Kanban is not a framework and it's not an Agile framework. So it doesn't prescribe you how to work and what exactly to do, right? It just says, okay, start with visualizing your work. Just put whatever you do on the board, okay? And then whatever it doesn't work, then we collectively discuss and agree how we want to work together. And also it doesn't limit itself into Agile Manifesto and Agile values and principles. However, it gives you the opportunity to improve your agility. So you don't basically need to necessarily be agile if you want to achieve agility, if that makes sense. So
Yeah,
I
so
hope
basically
I kind of,
anyone can
yeah.
use Kanban, as you know.
Anyone can use Kanban. So if you was just talk about can we use Kanban with Scrum, right? So imagine you are using Scrum, right? You can use Kanban practices and Kanban principles to do Scrum, but better, right? And that's what happened to me. So when I was a Scrum Master, I kind of told people, you need to do this. We have to have this meeting. We have to have this ceremony, stuff like that. But one of the principle of Kanban, it says, we manage the work, not the worker. And that principle by itself helped me a lot to become a better Scrum Master. So I focus more on the work than individual and worker, right? Um, another question is Scrum Ban. So again, let's imagine you're using Scrum, and over time you notice that I have some issue that it's difficult to find the answer within Scrum, and then you want to improve. then you can start using Kanban, right? So basically, Scrumban means when you are doing Scrum, until you become truly fully Kanban, it takes a time. This journey, it's called Scrumban. So we basically at this stage, we are moving away from Scrum and getting closer to be Kanban, right? This called Scrumban. So Scrumban is a journey. It's not a destination. It's not a framework. So if it's not something that someone say, okay, let's be a Scrumban. You know what I mean? So if you
Yeah.
are doing Scrum and you want to go to do more flow-based approach, which is Kanban, then this transformation is called Scrumban. And that's again another difference between Scrum and Kanban. So Scrum has a stop-start approach. So at the beginning of the sprint, you pull a batch of work, and then you say, okay, stop. Now we focus on this work until it's done, and then at the end of the sprint, then we pull a batch again, another batch again. But Kanban has a flow based. So basically, when the capacity available, we pull the next work. So you don't need to wait and do on the same cadence, same interval.
Yeah. Yeah. So basically, there's a few different principles, but they can complement each other.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. We just have a few questions and a few people saying hi. Nat saying hi. Someone actually joined us on Facebook for the difference today. Here we go. Jason saying, "Orod is really popular today." So, and Jason have a question. Don't most of the Agile Manifesto guys typically disagree with the sentiment that Scrum is through the manifesto?
Is this a question for me?
It is a question for you. Do you disagree that Scrum is a truth to the manifesto?
Well, I think you can find pretty much everything we have in Scrum. You can find something related to Scrum, to Agile Manifesto. Um, at least that's my understanding. But as Jason said, maybe different people have different understanding and
Different opinion. Yeah,
interpretation.
yeah. Okay, and so obviously a lot of people can use a Kanban, and obviously we want to apply it to our IT career as well. So you already mentioned that it's helped you as a Scrum Master, applying some Scrum principles. But who else, I guess, who can benefit from the Kanban framework?
So basically, any knowledge worker can use Kanban. So basically, there are different level of problem we have, and people work on different level of organization. They can use Kanban to help them. For example, the team members, people who actually do the work, they can use Kanban to basically show them how busy we are. I don't have any capacity to take another work, those kind of stuff. Middle manager can use Kanban to uh, identify the bottlenecks, how they can help the team to optimize the flow and make sure work's not blocked and stuff like that, and also make sure that team members not overloaded, and also have better predictability, and they have some sort of better answer for senior managers, because senior manager normally looking for answers, right? When these things will be delivered, that kind of stuff. So they also have answers for them. And senior level management, they can use Kanban to achieve business agility, so they can keep their promises to their customer. And that's quite important as part of the maturity level that we're going to discuss later.
Yeah, and I guess if we will be like I don't know, really, really specific. Yeah. So let's say, who we have. We have today Rebecca, for example, join us. Yes. So she want to be like a front end developer. Yeah. How she can how she as a developer can benefit, from using Kanban.
Yeah. So the first, it depends what team or what organization she's working in, what is the level of maturity the organization and team she's working with. But imagine Rebecca is a developer and work in a team that no one knows who is doing what, and no one is aware of how busy Rebecca is, right? So she can start having some simple Kanban board and say, all right, guys, these are the work that I'm at the currently working on, right? So when someone come and say, Rebecca, can you work on this? Rebecca will say, I'm already have 5 works in progress. I don't have any, capacity. Or what you can say is, all right, I have these 5 works that I'm going to work with. Which one you want to go first? So you tell me, right? So you're my manager, you tell me, but I can't take more than 5. Otherwise, I do lots of context switch, that kind of thing. So I think that's probably how she can start using Canva.
Yeah, like as a first
As
point.
an individual, yeah.
As an individual. But I guess in in a lot of people in different positions can benefit from the Kanban.
Absolutely. So different people, for example, if you are a team coach, like a Scrum Masters, delivery lead, iteration managers, those kind of people, project managers, they can use Kanban to visualize the work for their team and help the team to manage the work better. If you are a team of team, for example, coach, or you're managing multiple teams or bigger works like delivery managers, or if you are using Safe, for example, which is quite popular in these days in large organization, RTEs, product managers, program managers, they can also use Kanban to visualize the work. Individual, like developers, testers, BAs, they can visualize their work to show their managers and other people, these are what I'm working on. Increase visibility between individuals, between team members, between teams. So different people, based on what they work, they definitely can get benefit from Canva.
And I guess if we just go with some simple example, yeah. So for example, we want to set up the Kanban board for our team, yeah. So we decide we want to take this approach. I guess what the most common mistakes people do when they're trying to set up Kanban board, yeah. So because it's, in the beginning, maybe it seems straightforward, today in progress, done, and everyone just drag the cards across. But yeah, so what's I guess, what's the unique about this approach that actually can help with this productivity bit?
Okay. So first of all, there is no right or wrong Kanban board, right? So depends on the problem. Different teams, they can have different type of Kanban board and Kanban system. But the common mistake is that, and before I talk about the common mistake, I need to explain what Kanban means, the terminology of Kanban. Because I think if people know what Kanban means, just the word, the terminology, then they have good understanding what or how they need to design the board. So Kanban in Japanese, which basically it's influenced by the Japanese version, means signal, right? So the Kanban system needs to send a signal to say, I have capacity and I'm ready to pull the next work, right? So the common mistake is that you look at the board, right? And you don't see that signal from the board. So there is a big board, lots of column, lots of cards on the wall, right? That's a big wall with lots of cards. It's not a Kanban system. Kanban system needs to send a signal to say, I have capacity now, and I'm ready to pull the next work.
So do
I
we
hope
set
I
up
answered.
the capacity from the beginning? So is it like, when we're setting up the card, we estimate, I don't know, the time for
So
each
you
card?
can say, I as a Orod, right? I can work on two works at a time. So in that column, right? So for example, we're talking about individual, right? In my column, I shouldn't have more than two works. Otherwise, lots of context switch. Remember, we talk about knowledge work. Knowledge work means I need to use my brain. I need to focus, right? And too much work in progress means lots of context switch, means lots of waste. Okay. So I would say I'm happy to take two works. So when there is no two works in my column, that's a signal, right? That means now I have capacity and I'm ready to pull the next work. Another person might say, I just want to work on one work. Someone else might say five works, right? Different people, different jobs. It's different, but you need to
So
send a signal.
okay, so yeah, so you need to kind of decide at which capacity you can take additional, additional work. So Jason's asking, so how does the Kanban for knowledge work differ from that of the ones you mentioned being used in the lean manufacturing?
Mm. So there is a fundamental difference between manufacturing and manual work and knowledge work. So in manufacturing, it's a lot easier to predict how long the work takes, right? And it's also easier to train people. So for example, if someone does whatever and then you hire a new person, you can say, all right, I trained the new person for 1 month, and after 1 month, this person can produce with the same pace as the person who's been doing this job for 2 years, right? So it's easier to predict and it's easier to manage the queue and how long jobs are waiting, and it's easier to design the system. But knowledge work, because every single individual has different experience about the work, right? So you can say two people with 10 years experience can work on the same work with the same pace, right? Because some of them has knowledge about that work, another person does not have the knowledge, right? So that's the fundamental difference, and that's how these Kanban try to manage, and by, for example, limiting the work in progress, right, and focusing on the lead time, which is basically when we start and when it's finished. Also by deferring the commitment point. So that I don't want to go into too much detail because it might be a little bit, I don't know, overwhelming. Um, but I'm happy to talk to Jason or whoever, maybe offline, to talk a little bit about the differences with more detail. But just a quick one. So in lean manufacturing, if you want to increase the throughput or the delivery ratio, you either can increase the work in progress by adding more resources, or adding a new machine. Okay. If you have a queue, you can add one more person and then you know free the queue. But in knowledge work, you can't, because it doesn't necessarily means adding one person can help. Sometimes adding one new person can cause more problem, right? So we try to limit the number of work and focus on other stuff like the constraint and other stuff. So yeah, I think it's a little bit out of scope of this interview,
Yeah.
but I'm happy to talk to Jason offline.
Yeah. No, but makes sense. So it's basically different measurements as well you would use to measure the cards and to move the cards. And yeah, and it's a great example. Yes. So if you have some tasks to do, it's not as simple as just adding the extra person to this task if the all knowledge already sits with one person, because by the time the sharing of the knowledge will happen,
Yeah.
the task will still be in progress. So, but if we start looking, to actual examples of career growth and how Kanban actually can help with the career, yes. So there's obviously
Mm.
different ways we can set up Kanban boards, and they can work differently in different teams. But yes, how it actually can help us to progress in the career, especially obviously we're talking about IT. its industry here?
Mm, yeah. So, there are different maturity level in organization, and based on the level of maturity that team or organizations at, we try to design a system. So, for example, maturity level 0, it's basically chaos, right? So no one knows who is doing what. Okay. Fortunately, maybe I was lucky enough. I never really work in those kind of environment. But imagine you work with the team and everyone says, I'm busy, but no one knows who is doing what, and no one knows when the work will be done, and those kind of stuff. So that's level 0. If you are in that kind of level, then you can start just by visualizing individual work, right? So Orod works on these things, Rebecca work on this, Yana on these things, right? So just individual board for different people, and say, okay, just visualize your work at the beginning, just to start with, right? After a while, when people start, basically kind of used to using the board and visualize their work, and don't underestimate it. Some people don't want to visualize their work, okay? But after a while, when they visualize it, they notice they see some benefit, right? So, okay, now people know that why I'm busy. I personally know why I'm busy. Sometimes there are lots of hidden work, right? You are doing lots of things that you are not even think about it, because it's they're just a small thing, but lots of small things, right? Lots of context switch. So after a while, when individual used to visualizing their own work, then they realize that, okay, my work has an impact on someone else. So now we can combine those individual board into one board and have one board for this team and individual, and visualize individual works, but in one board, right? So we can see the dependency, and when Orod is finished, so now Yana can continue that kind of thing, which is level 1. We still focus at level 1, we still focus on individual, right? So there are still some people or some work that always goes to Yana because Yana is the expert, right? So after a while, when people started using that and started a little bit more collaboration and they see some benefit, then we can focus on the teamwork rather than individual work, right? Which is maturity level 2. So at this stage, we visualize the work and something like, for example, user story, right? That we use in Scrum. So it's a teamwork, it's not an individual task, right? And we focus on the work more than individual, but still the capacity and the capability, sorry, the demand and capability, it's not balanced yet. So still the demand is a lot higher than our capacity. So still people can't quite be, or team is not quite predictable yet. But after a while, when we practice this one and we start, optimizing and focusing and increasing the focus and optimizing the lead time and process, then we go to maturity level 3. And at that stage, we could balance between the demand and the capability. So at this stage, we basically achieve agility. So now we are predictable. But we still have a Kanban system for one team or one service, right? But organization is a network of services, or a network or a team of teams, right? That will be the maturity level 4. So at this stage, we have one system, one Kanban system works for one team. So now we have multiple Kanban, right? And we also can expand Kanban. So to the upstream work and downstream, or discovery and delivery, that kind of thing. And we can focus more on flow efficiency. And at this stage, we can achieve, team of teams agility. And the next level, it's basically you can achieve the organizational agility, and then you have Kanban for the entire value stream. So from when the work started, from beginning until the end. So basically, based on which maturity level you are at, And what you do, you can use Kanban. So if you are in level 0 to 1 or 2, so you can use simple Kanban, and then you as an individual, right? You can go and talk to other people and say, hey guys, just visualize my work. And every time that someone come and say, can you do this? I just show and say, okay, I'm working on these things. So maybe you can, you know, use this Kanban. And then over time, so if you are a team coach, right, then you can expand your Kanban, and when you practice a little bit, then you can become a team of team coach, because now you can have multiple Kanban. After a while, when you achieve, when you practice Kanban for a while with multiple teams and you're comfortable with, then you can go and expand it to the entire organization and help you to become a organizational coach. Plus, Kanban by nature, it all about conversation, collective decision making, those kind of stuff, which as a coach, you need to have that skills. If you are a project manager, you can have a Kanban board to manage your own project. And then after a while, you can, you know, manage your project a little bit better. And you can say, now I want to have manage multiple projects. So program manager, right? So now you can have multiple Kanban for multiple projects. And you can allocate different work to different people and stuff like that. And then over time, you can be a portfolio manager. So you can manage multiple programs. Okay. Or if you are technical, so as we discuss about Rebecca, sorry, we keep pointing at Rebecca. It's your fault, Yana. But
That
if I'm Rebecca and I visualize my work, and then people start following me and say, oh, okay, that's, Rebecca did this, and, she got some benefits. So then you can, expand this one, and then you can, over time, you can use it for as a team lead, and then you can become, I don't know, practice lead and manage, multiple teams or multiple people or bigger teams. And, over time you can be kind of a C level and manage, other work that you do.
So I guess like if we're talking about individual level in the
Hmm.
beginning, if we're talking about low maturity of the Kanban and individual level, it's something that can help us to like showcase our work and communicate better with the team, and also be more organized. I guess that would be
Yeah.
the main benefits.
And focus, it increase your focus. So you focus on, a few works, and that helps you to get the works done quicker, right? Because when you focus, then you can, get it out of your way, then you focus on the next work rather than do a little bit this work and then a little bit this, and then, shuffle between multiple works. And then at the end of the day, you've been busy, you've been utilized, and you've worked maybe 10 hours, but nothing's done. So what we want is to, rather than be busy 10 hours a day and nothing done, we want you to be busy for 3 hours, but get one work done.
Yeah, and stay focused. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Prash is asking, in your practical experience about the organization with 100 employees, 10 teams, please explain in general the time taking to implement Kanban from level 0 to final level, knowledge-based working organization.
Yeah. Uh, I can't answer this question, but it takes time, right? It's different, right? Different organization by organization, different. Some people, uh, they accept and respond to change easier and quicker. Some people resist more. But what we want to do and achieve in Kanban is to gradually evolve, rather than do a very big bang change management. It's like, from tomorrow, everyone needs to follow these approach, and all the systems, all the Kanban boards should be the same, and everyone should follow, one whip limit per person, those kind of stuff. But, based on my experience, 100 people probably, it's not a quick journey. But I would say, let's say 1.5 to 2 years at least. if you
for the
want
whole
to
organization. Yeah.
gradually evolve. If you
Yeah.
want to gradually evolve, right?
Yeah. Where you don't need to push it on people, but where you know, let
That's
people,
right.
I guess, play around with the individual boards and get a feeling
Yeah.
for it, maybe
Because different
understand how
team
they
has
work
different
better. Yeah.
problem, right?
Yeah.
So you have 10 teams and different team has different workflow and they have different problems, right? It's not like all of them have the same problem and have the same workflow and everything is the same. That's the thing. That's the complexity. And that's something we need to be mindful and be aware of.
Yeah. And I think, yeah, as you mentioned before, some resistance from people. Not everyone want to show all their work on the put all their work on the board. You know, there could be some resistance there, or you know, again, like some resistance between some team members.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah,
But we need to start from somewhere, right?
yeah, yeah.
If we
And I
don't
guess, yeah,
start, it
the
never ends.
yeah, and like my understanding, you're suggesting that a good start is starting with individual boards, and everyone trying to do the
If
individual
you are
board.
in, yeah, if you are in maturity level 0, then for sure. And
Hmm.
start with those who are willing to visualize their work. And when those people get some benefit, then you can use as a successful example and encourage other people to join.
Cool. And all right, I know also, you know, obviously you have a board behind you. And my understanding that you use Kanban board in your personal life as well. Funny enough, you know, when we decided to do this topic on this live stream, and I quickly Googled some topics and people done before on the Kanban and the Korea. And interestingly enough, a lot of topics that come up in Google was about, oh, how I use Kanban board to find my next job. So, so obviously people using Kanban in a different situation for, you know, in their personal life as well as, you know, progressing their career, but not within the organization, but
Hmm.
outside, just helping themselves to be organized and focused. So how you use your personal board? So can you give us some examples how it's, you know, help you with your personal
Yeah,
life?
it's actually quite interesting story. You know, after COVID and when we started working from home, so because I was at home, I had so much time and I started just watching, movies. And all of a sudden I was like, I have lots of time and I'm just wasting all the time on watching movies, right? Watching movies that I didn't even like, but because I had nothing else to do, so I just watched them. And one day I was like, I'm talking about Kanban board with peoples and organizations and team and this and that. Why not have a personal Kanban board for myself to see where my time is being spent and how I can manage my time a little bit more effectively? So I started with this board, and so it's a very simple board. It has
Murad is
three
asking
columns.
why the top row doing is empty.
Yes, I'll explain. So first of all, each swim lane, it's for different type of work that I like to do or I need to do, right? So the first one, it's expedite. Okay, so expedite means urgent work, right? For example, a few days ago, I got a flat tire. Okay, so this is not something that I like to have, right? But it's urgent. Something urgent will happen, and I need to jump on that, regardless how busy I am. The second one is the fun work. Okay, so my personal fun activity, I want to go to gym, I want to catch up with my friends and stuff like that. The third line is the work that I don't like to do, but I have to do, right? So let me show you one example. So I need to fix the security door, right? And
What about
there
gardening?
are some dots here, okay? So I add a dot for every day that this work is waiting, right? And as you can see, because I don't like to do it, so it has lots of dots. And also each card has a deadline.
Ah, yeah, the
Yeah.
date. Mm-hmm.
So I have to do it, for example, by 17th of December, right?
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, we go, uh, you know, uh, we go for a trip and we don't have a security door, right? The next one, blue, is everything that I need to do for family. So I need to take my daughter to ballet practice, 9 a.m. clock tower, right, Saturday. And this one, which is orange, but because I ran out of orange cards, I just use yellow. So this is some extra work activity, including this chat.
Here you go. I'm in the
Okay.
both. Yes.
And the last one is learning. So anything that I want to learn, reading, that kind of stuff. So I need to do this is one of the Kanban courses. I need to do something for them. So I started with this one. Each swim lane has a limit. Okay. So that helps me to kind of spend my time on cross different type of work. Because when I started, my daughter came and I had lots of orange here. You don't see because now I have a Kanban system. But at the beginning, I had lots of orange here and no green.
That's
And
why
then
you
my
run out
daughter,
of the orange cards.
yeah, and then, yeah, exactly. Yeah, good point. And then my daughter come and say, "Hey, Daddy, you don't have any fun." And I said, "Yes, exactly. That's what I want to do. That's what I want to know. I want to know why I don't have any fun because I spend all my time and do this kind of work. You know what I mean?" And then I put some sort of a limit. So I don't want to have more than two cards here, more than two cards, one there, stuff like that. And so I can spend time on different things because, the only thing it's fixed in this world is time. Everything else can change, right? And everything else is pretty much in our, in my hand, right? Almost, right? So it's up to me how much work I can, pull to this 10 hours that I'm active during the day, right? And if I spend so much on one of those work, that means something else will be impacted, right? As simple as this.
Definitely. And I think I want to ask guys who are listening to us, do you use any sort of vision boards or anything for yourself at home? How do you organize your like time a day? I don't really have a board. I have like just the, you know, kind of the list. I usually put like a list for the month and a list for 3 months and some sort of daily priorities. It's not as visual as, or it's just kind of like the, basic ones. But I think at least it's when I get too overwhelmed with the things, I just go back and I'm like, okay, so what was my priority for this month? And it's, help me to stay focused. But I still do little piece of papers, I think almost every day, because I like crossing stuff. So
Hmm.
and I
Yeah,
think that's what we were talking about, that Kanban board kind of can bring that satisfaction of moving the card to the, to the next to the next stage.
exactly. Because when you come back and say, "Oh, I've done that much," then you feels good. And you can use Kanban board for different reasons. So this is for myself, right? So I have another example. That's the board for my daughter, right? And remember, I said Kanban board needs to send a signal to say I have capacity. So each day she's got 6 slots. These are the Kanban on her board, right? So she can't have more than 6 work per day. Otherwise, she's too overloaded. All right.
Yep.
So there are different cards. She pull the work, whatever she needs to do. All right. So for example, she needs to work on clock and play piano and do some spelling and some reading, some math, and then a bedtime story. Okay. So when she's done it, then she take this one off and put it in the parking. So it's done. Right? So she knows that how many works she can pull per day, right? And it's very simple, even 6, 7 years old kid can use it.
Yeah, and I think we're all guilty of overloading ourselves sometimes with like to-do list, and then we feel like nothing happening because
Mm,
it takes too long, and we tend to. I'm sure we all tend to underestimate how much time it will take us to do
that's right.
any of the jobs.
One of the coping strategy of us as a human is that when we want to plan, we always think about the good things, right? We never think about worst case scenario. And this is a coping strategy, right? You want to buy a house, you always think this is the best house. Nothing happened to this house, right? But as soon as you buy it, you say, oh, this pipe is leaking, the toilet doesn't work, the roof needs to be fixed, lots of things happen. Same with, planning for sprint or planning for your trip and your work or whatever, right? And that's why we always overloaded ourselves, because we don't think about the exceptions. We don't think about dependency. We don't think about, we send an email and no one reply back to us and we blocked by someone else. You know what I mean?
Definitely. And few people actually replying to us. Rebecca say, I use a to-do list daily and for the week, and then whiteboard for monthly goals. Orod is saying, I have long to-do lists that I don't start, but I will start making Kanban board today.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
long
also
to-do
make
list.
sure that, if you have a very long to-do list, if you have something, and that's my approach. If you have something on your to-do which stay there for more than, I don't know, 6 months, just remove it, because your to-do list shouldn't be a dumping station, right? Or your backlog is not a dumping station. It's something that you want to work on, and you need to be able to prioritize and manage it. If it's too long, then it's out of control, and you probably forget even what you have on your board, on the backlog.
Yeah, and I
But yeah,
like,
Murat, use.
and I like your examples already about, so you can categorize, by priority, you can categorize, by just, if it's a fun or not fun, you can categorize by
Yeah,
timing. You probably, everyone can find their own way how they want to, run that board.
exactly. Yeah.
Um,
So
yeah,
this one I have here in Kanban, we call them work item type. So different type of work that your customer raise. Okay, because from
yeah,
customer point of view, there are different type of demand or order, right? So for example, if you have a restaurant, you have different type of order. You have dining, you have takeaway, you have Uber Eats, you know what I mean? And you want
yeah,
to prioritize them differently because there are different expectations, right? So people who come to for takeaway, they probably don't want to wait for 1 hour, right? But those who order Uber Eats because they're home, then they can entertain themselves, they can stay a little bit longer. You know what I'm saying? So you want to respond them differently,
yeah,
and that's
yeah.
why you need to categorize them differently.
Set different timelines, different expectations, yeah, different urgencies
Yeah,
for sure. Rebecca saying, I will definitely use Kanban since I love to visualize my work and cross off to do or see what I can accomplish. Here you go. You can have a whole column of accomplishments now. And that's, I think that's a good point about to-do list. I feel like with to-do list, we kind of cross it off and then we write the list again without the things that we crossed off. And then you don't have a list of everything you've done. So you can't really look at it and see like, oh, I've done so much because it's all crossed. So it's a good point. Maybe, I'll have a think how maybe redesign my my visual board as well. There's definitely a few ideas there. So I'm just cautious about the time as well, or it's we can talk forever.
I know.
I tend to talk a lot as well, so it's already 55, almost 55 minutes in our live stream. So it's time to wrap the things up, guys. If you have a really quick question, you can quickly post it in the comments. Or can you please choose our winner for today? Because we always have a winner every live stream. The person who asks maybe some interesting question or participate in discussion that can have a virtual coffee chat with Orod and take some of the questions offline. I have a think about who's this lucky winner while I'm doing a quick announcement for next week. Because next week, so next week, actually, there is no live stream actually next week. Next week, I will be in Sydney. I'll be participating in the FinTech 22 conference. We will have stand with the Fastlane solutions. So guys, whoever will be in Sydney next week, pop in, say hi. I'll be there both days. Always can catch up for a coffee, before, after, during the conference. The tickets are free for this event as well, so you can always pop in. And week after, on Wednesday, 7th of December, we're going to talk with Ellie, and we're going to talk about interview skills you need to get hired in IT industry. So Eli is a career coach and technical recruiter, and he will give you, his top tips when he's hiring people in roles as well. So while I've been talking, Orod, have you choose the winner for the virtual coffee?
Yes. So I think I didn't answer Jason's question about the difference between knowledge work, this Kanban and lean manufacturing.
Yeah.
So I like to talk to him. And also, who was the person who said I have a very big to-do list?
I was Murat.
Murat.
I
And
have a
Murat
long
as
to-do
well.
list, nowhere to start.
Yes. And
Uh,
I also like to have a chat with Murat. Maybe I can help him
So he just
to.
said, I didn't know about categorizing, and Learn Today definitely will use. Thank you.
All right.
Prash has actually one more question. We've just online training in Kanban without practical experience in Kanban. Please inform the ways that one could explain in an interview that he could implement Kanban in the organization. So if you don't have a practical experience.
So the question is, if someone has no experience with Kanban,
Practical
how they
experience
can.
in Kanban, but in the interview, they want to implement it, like explain that they want. That's a big question. Maybe you have to have a virtual coffee with Prash as well.
All right. Yeah. Please reach out. In fact, I'm going to India next Wednesday for a Kanban India conference. But before that, please reach out to me, whoever interested. I'm happy to have a chat about Kanban. That's definitely my passion. I spent quite a lot of time talking to different people about Kanban this year, and I will continue. And thanks, Yana, for sharing this. And also, if anyone's interested, I'm running Kanban University certified courses. There are two courses. One is in fact, three course, Team Kanban Practitioner and Kanban Management Professional by itself. It has two courses. Those who've been in this live and also reach out to me, they can get, if they're interested, they can get 20% off on the next course as well, which probably will be mid or late January.
So guys, make sure to reach out to or reach out, make sure I have you on LinkedIn as well, because Murat and Prash, I'm not sure if I'm connected with you on LinkedIn. It's hard to message people on YouTube. Please make sure to connect with me on LinkedIn, connect to Orod on LinkedIn, so I can connect you, so you can organize this virtual coffee chat. Rebecca has a quick question. Actually, maybe you have a quick answer. Are there any preset templates?
If she is referring to template,
I think the
for
personal
Kanban.
personal Kanban board.
For personal Kanban, my Kanban has 3 columns. But no, there is no preset template. As I said, different people, different works go through different flow. So basically, Kanban board is unique per person or per team.
Yeah, but basically, it's usually something like to do for today, like in progress.
So
blocked
my
and done.
my
So
Kanban
that's
works
clear.
like that because we need
Yeah,
to differentiate between the works are waiting and the works I'm committed to deliver and I'm committed to do, right? So
yeah,
to do here for me is just the option. So it's something that I haven't committed to deliver. As but when I commit to deliver, I move them to in progress. So I know that I'm committed and I need to actively work and I need to spend time and from here to here, normally my lead time is around 10 days, 2 weeks, and done, which is basically done.
yeah. Cool. Okay, all right, we're running running of time. Jason say cool, thank you. So I'm gonna connect you on LinkedIn as well so you can have a chat. Guys, make sure connect with Orod, especially if you want to get a 20% of his course as well. Make sure to drop him or me a message and say that you actually watch this live stream. So,
Yeah.
and all right, just to quickly finish our today's live stream, can you just share your favorite inspirational quote with us?
Stop starting, start finishing.
That's a good one.
I
And
stole
if
it from
something that you
David
haven't
Anderson.
started, and if something that you haven't started 6 months ago, just don't
Just
even
throw it
start.
out. Yes. And please, if you want to talk about the courses or talk to me, please at least send a message to me today or latest tomorrow before I forget. Yeah, and then we can organize sometimes later, but just at least connect and reach out and send a message to today or tomorrow. Thanks.
Perfect. So I already forgot. Stop starting, start doing,
Start finishing,
start
which
finishing.
means
Yes,
whatever you
yes,
already
yes.
started, finish first, then start something else.
Stop starting, start finishing. Here we go,
Yeah.
guys. That's a quote of the today. Thank you so much for all your energy. Thank you so much for all your questions. Please like this video if you get a value from today. Means a lot for me if you give me a bit of a love there on LinkedIn or YouTube channel. And I will see you in 2 weeks, or I might see you in Sydney next week if someone will be in Sydney. And maybe someone will see Orod in India next week if someone will be in the conference.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
See you later.
Here we go. So now you're famous.
Yeah.
You're famous.
Thank you very much. Have a good day, everyone.
Thank
See
you.
you.
Thank you, guys. See you.